Hello, my name is Gustavo Castañeda. My group has decided to address the issue of homelessness, and I will be focusing on the housing aspect. According to the United States Congress House, the definition of homelessness is individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. A literal definition refers to individuals in emergency shelters, transitional housing, or places not meant for human habitation, such as cars, parks, or streets. Homelessness occurs as a result of economic factors, such as stagnant wages and job loss, as well as personal crises, such as addictions and illnesses, and relationship issues, such as lack of support and domestic abuse. Homelessness is an issue because it can lead to physical illnesses, such as HIV and TB, and skin infections. It can lead to mental illnesses, such as depression and PTSD, as well as substance abuse and suicide. Homelessness is more than just an issue. According to the National Library of Medicine, in the European Union, more than 400,000 individuals are homeless on any one night, and more than 600,000 are homeless in the USA. Homeless people have higher rates of premature mortality than the rest of the population, especially from suicide and unintentional injuries, and an increased prevalence of a range of infectious diseases, mental disorders, and substance misuse. Higher rates of non-communicable diseases have also been described with evidence of accelerated aging. Looking at this chart provided by Our World in Data, a website maintaining over 13,820 charts known for providing reliable information, it displays the ratio of homeless individuals per 100,000 people. Given that the population of the UK is 67 million, roughly 228,000 individuals are homeless in the UK alone. How does housing play a role in homelessness? Housing plays a role in homelessness because it is directly connected to the issue. The access to housing can be directly seen as a solution to the problem of homelessness. However, access to housing, even to vacant homes, is not always available. One huge cause for this is the large influx of unaffordable homes. There is a large number of vacant homes in Florida. According to this chart provided by the FL Health Charts, known to be credible for its accurate data, approximately 1,506,247 homes are vacant in Florida. You would think that if all these houses are vacant, then the previous number of approximately 600,000 homeless individuals in the United States should not exist. However, what if I were to tell you that is not the case? Despite having this large number of vacant homes, tons of people are still homeless. Why is that? Home prices have risen sharply over time in Florida. According to Florida realtors, which may have a bias as an industry group that benefits from rising prices. However, its data is still useful for identifying trends. Home prices in Florida have had an increase of 79% over the last 5 years. This is an issue because, stated by Florida Home Buyers, a highly reliable and credible website used to buy and sell houses, the average price of a home in Florida is $400,000, which places home ownership out of reach for many working families. My group and I have actually realized this and noticed the increased cost of living in our area. This issue is not unique to Florida. In New South Wales, Australia, about 100,000 homes are not used for long-term housing, including 15,000 fully vacant homes, 45,000 holiday homes, 33,000 short-term rentals. This is provided by The Guardian, a global news site. What has been done to solve this issue? The Florida legislature in 2023 passed what is known as the Live Local Act. This act provides $800 million in funding, tax incentives, and preempting local zoning regulations, which provides tax breaks for builders building building near commercial and transit areas, as a result increasing affordable housing. To put it simply, the Live Local Act increases affordable homes by making it easier and more profitable for builders to build affordable housing by providing benefits and reducing restrictions. In order to solve this issue, I have concluded as a solution that the taxing of tourist accommodations should directly fund affordable housing, as well as a taxing of vacant homes would be efficient in solving this issue. Office, according to the Florida Governor's Office, which is highly credible because of the governor's high expertise in the government, Florida welcomed approximately 143 million visitors in 2024. These visitors provided $134.9 billion in revenue, which fuels vacation rentals and investments in property buying, ultimately reducing long-term house availability. Since Florida taxes already Since Florida already taxes hotels by what is known as the tourist development tax, using the revenue provided by tourists to directly fund the building of affordable houses, the issue of unaffordable homes could be fixed. The tourist development tax is roughly 5 to 6%. If a similar percentage were to be applied to the $130.9 billion of tourism revenue, it equals to around $6.7 billion annually, which can be allocated to the building of affordable housing. The taxing of vacant homes would also benefit the solution, as it would encourage homeowners to sell or rent the houses out. Since Florida has already taken a step in the right direction by passing the Live Local Act, which would only be of benefit to solving this issue. In order to solve the issue of the lack of access to homes, my global solution is government-funded housing. A real-world example of this occurring is in Singapore. The Housing and Development Board of Singapore, responsible for government housing, credible because of its large success, states that Singapore has an approximate home ownership rate of 90%, and 80% of Singaporean residents live in government housing. The Housing and Development Board builds large apartments and complexes, which then are provided at cheaper prices for citizens, which treats housing like a public service, allowing affordability to be achieved, and demonstrates that governments can build housing at a scale. All in all, while I do like my solutions, they have their limitations. Taxing tourist revenue would be very hard to achieve, as Florida and other tourist-heavy areas heavily rely on tourism, so it is needed. At the same time, redirecting this tax revenue, tracking it, and using it to fund the building of affordable homes could be a difficult process, though not impossible. As for the taxing of vacant homes, it is difficult to determine whether a house is vacant to justify taxation. The limitations for government-funded housing can vary depending on the area of the world. For example, in third world countries where the government is poor, funded housing may be difficult near to impossible, as the government wouldn't have enough resources or funding to build these houses. Final judgment. Florida passing the Live Local Act was a step in the right direction. However, it worked more as a suggestion rather than a solution. My local solution can be extremely efficient, given that it takes one of the biggest contributors to the high prices of homes in Florida and directly uses it to solve the issue it creates. My local solution, combined with what Florida already has done, can be more than just a step in the right direction and lead to a financial solution. to a lead to a final solution. However, my local solution isn't applicable all throughout the world, as other countries may not have the luxury of large tourist revenue. My global solution has proven to be widely efficient and possible. However, it deeply depends on the amount of money and resource a country may have. My solutions, combined with the efforts already being made in order to combat homelessness and the lack of affordable housing, can be more than just a step in the right direction and outright lead to a proper solution if executed properly. And these are my sources.